Good day, Jonathan Reichert here. Thanks for watching. My most viewed video on my channel is lick lesson number 1, I discovered, and I'm surprised by that. So I thought maybe I'll continue more of these ideas. And so what I'm going to do today is take the final lick from the song Fast Machine, which you heard at the beginning of this video. Great lick and lots of cool things that it has to offer for one lick. And so I'm going to play it for you here from slow to fast like the last video. If you want to skip ahead to the sort of lesson material, I'm just going to talk about the lick and what I like about it. And you can learn the lick on your own, but I'll just maybe give you some insights of why I chose it. So stick around and have fun and check out some other videos on the channel. Thanks. So I'm going to slide my practice mode slider down to 50% speed here. I'm going to click auto on. If I make less than 10% of the notes wrong, it should speed me up 5% until I get to 100%. So I'll just do that run through for fun here. I just like to work on consistency, so we'll see how it works. You can skip ahead if you want, or you can see how it goes. Here we go. The challenge. Go. Anyway, there we have it. Now you can just see a little bit of what's going on in the lick from slow to fast. I didn't learn the lick by playing it just from slow to fast like that. The first thing I did with that lick, and most long runs like that, is I paused the screen like this and then went through it slowly and memorized it so that I could have some time to think instead of letting it fly by and doing it half good. And the first thing I changed about this lick is all those 15s in that first chunk there, I do them with my ring finger. So once I got that switcheroo, I like to make tiny little loops out of chunks of the lick. In this case, for example, I was working on the first few notes in a loop like this. And if you want, I'm not going to talk anything about hammer-ons and pull-offs and picking. As you can see, when I did the slow version, I was picking a lot of the notes, and as it got faster, I did hammer-ons and pull-offs. I'll leave that up to you for personal preference. In this case, once I get this little loop sped up, I'm generally doing all hammer-ons and pull-offs except for the first note of each string change, I guess you can say. So I got that going, and then this is where I had to make some decisions. When it got into the 3 notes per string section where there's a 15, 14, 12 and a 15, 14, 12 on the next string. That's when, for me, I brought it back into a sort of closed position and have my pinky involved there. So I think probably the guitarist who was playing this was probably using these 2 fingers at the beginning and then sticking to these 3 fingers for the rest of the lick. That's kind of what I would think would happen, but I seem to like to bring my pinky in for these sort of closed position things. That's just the way I like it. So I did that. So I put the first loop together. Oh, I forgot, there's a big stretch in here, the 17. I had to work on that quite a bit. And then I would just build on that, pull off the last couple notes on that. Anyway, I would just build along like that. But generally the main thing I had to figure out was which fingers to use. So for this lick, let's see. The other part that took a lot of effort to get consistent is this section here that has a finger roll. There's a 14, 14, 14. That's going pretty fast, and you have to pick it pretty quick. You can't hammer on or pull off those notes. There's no choice there. So let's see, we've got... That's the little lick I was working on in there. So you got from the 15, 14, 12 into that roll, finger roll back and forth. Pretty cool little licks. Anyway, I really like them. That's kind of the process I do when I'm figuring these out. Forget about Yousician a little bit and just kind of work out little chunks like that, little tiny loops. Anyway, so that brought me pretty much to the end of the lick. The only other thing I like to try and do personally is when I have 3 notes on a string, like the 15, 14, 12, 3 different notes. It says pull off, but I like to pick the first 2 notes and then do a pull off. And it gives it like a little bit more attack. It's just personally the sound I like. It almost sounds like an illusion, like you're picking all 3 notes by the time you hear it. So instead of going like this, instead of that, I add an up on the 14. So down, up. It takes a little while to get that coordinated, but it starts to sound almost like you're picking all the notes, which is what I would eventually want to be able to do sometimes. So. Anyway, yeah, so it's a pretty cool lick. If you're having trouble, you know, just reading this, you got to get into Yousician, learn how to read these tabs. Like on the last lick lesson video I did, someone complained that it was not beginner or you know, explaining the basics enough, and that's not the idea behind these videos. I just want to have fun and show some of my favorite things that I've discovered in Yousician and kind of how I work through them. So I'm not necessarily teaching you a lick, it's just showing you how I like to learn a lick. And I had a lot of fun with this one. I'm starting to get where now there's other sections of this part 4 that I'm actually missing notes on, but this one I'm generally nailing it every time I do a run through. And so I've got a video coming up of this whole song pretty soon. But anyway, so have fun trying these licks. I really emphasize the chunking through these licks, and find any little section of it that gives you trouble and work on that in repetition. Like put a TV show on and practice one little thing, whatever you're having trouble with. Whatever it is, I just chunk through things like that, and don't go too fast if the pick is not lining up with the left hand. You know, that doesn't seem obvious to everyone, but if you're playing faster and it's kind of coming out like a big mess, you better slow it down and just make sure you've worked on those little chunks and coordinating the right hand and the left hand notes together. So another idea I didn't really talk about yet is that you can then take these licks and change them to make them your own. That would be something that you want to work on eventually, so that you're not just playing someone else's licks, but it's using them as inspiration to come up with your own ideas. And sometimes I have a really different way of doing that. I usually like to take them and totally dement them or turn them into something really strange, actually. But so maybe I'll give you an example with this lick. You could take the very first idea, just use that as a template, but change the notes. Same number of notes on the same exact strings, but different notes. So I'll come up with something really weird. Oh, here's something really simple. Anyway, you can come up with your own. Now, if I were to apply that idea to the whole lick, actually, I kind of like where this is going. I could take all the same number of notes that the first lick had and play them on different frets, but all the same number of notes. And the pattern that my fingers play should just translate right over. I'll try and come up with one right here. Here we go. So I'm going to take this whole lick. Let's see if it comes out with some different notes. I'm going to dement it a little bit, goof it up. Anyway, that's the idea. You could take I could do that all day and come up with different ideas, but take the licks you learn and try and make your own ideas out of any part of the lick, or take the whole lick and just you know, change one aspect of it. Like in that case, I just changed the notes, but kept the same number of notes on each string and things like that. So hopefully you could take that and make some of your own ideas, but if not, just have fun with that lick. Go and play it in Yousician and get that song dialed. It is a lot of fun. So we'll see you for another video soon, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, requests, complaints, just send me a message or leave me a comment, or find me on Facebook in the Yousician Friends Facebook group, so we can chat about the guitar, and talk to you soon.